divorce can be, or even considering divorce can be one of the most blaring, loudest times of our life, with all kinds of information shooting at us and people's opinions. And we're up at 2 a.m. on Reddit and listening to podcasts and getting all the opinions and the attorneys telling us things. And simultaneously, devastatingly quiet. We are alone with our own thoughts in ways that can be very scary. And we are confronting ourselves in ways that can be super uncomfortable. And so when I say as a coach, I'm going to hold the space here with you, I know it sounds super cheesy, coachy and woo-woo, but it really is true that sometimes we need someone to just sit in the space with us. And like you said, say, it is going to be okay. I never have any doubt when I look at a woman. It's going to be great. I promise. I say it all the time. It will be great. I promise. Let's get you there.
Let's take a quick moment to thank the people that support and sponsor the podcast. When life takes an unexpected turn, you deserve someone who will stand beside you. St. Louis attorney Chris Dully offers experienced one-on-one legal defense. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com. That's DULLE lawfirm.com for a free consultation. Hi, friends. I'm Danielle Elliott-Smith, and this is Hope Comes to Visit. Each week, we have real stories and soulful conversations about navigating the hard stuff and finding our way to light through laughter, community, and doing the hard things. I'm so glad you're here. This week, I am really excited to have a guest who is a longtime friend of mine. She is energetic and a spitfire, and someone who has helped me once upon a time. Jessica Ashley is rewriting the narrative of divorce. She's a divorce coach for moms, a CDC Certified Divorce Coach who helps women thrive through transitions with grace, creativity, and maybe even some cussing. On TikTok and Instagram, Jessica is a mom's best friend in divorce, posting daily content to a rapidly growing audience of women seeking community and clarity. Jessica, I'm so glad to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here. Like, we started in the OG mom blogger days, and look how our industries have come, our professions have come. And so it's so good to keep circling back.
It is. And it's been so beautiful to me in this iteration of the work that I'm doing to see how everyone is evolving and finding the work that really calls to them and what it is they're supposed to be doing. And I know that when I started to navigate my divorce, I called you, right? Because this was when you were working Single Mom Nation and you were starting to work with moms and say, hey, I got you. So let's talk a little bit about how you found this niche. How did you realize that being a divorce coach or working with single moms was your calling, was the place you needed to be?
I really feel like it called to me. I didn't expect it in any way. I have a college kiddo. You have college kiddos. And we know that some of the things we tell them, I imagine you do too, is like your job, your profession might not even be invented yet. And that's certainly how my beginnings in journalism and writing played out to become a mom blogger. And there really were some pivotal moments. One of those, excuse me, one of those was the day I took off my wedding rings. And a divorce had been brewing. I kept trying to save that marriage. And one day I just had an understanding it's over. I hadn't told anybody. And I just typed out the post, push publish. I didn't know if there were typos in it. I didn't know anything. And the response helped catapult me, not just in terms of my profession, but in my trust of myself to tell the truth about what was going on. And so that blog became a chronicle of my experience through the divorce with my toddler. and it had started as a love letter to my then husband and son. So that was the beginning of that change and really led me to write more all over the internet about divorce and single parenting and work at bigger and bigger sites. And so that was amazing. Launched the podcast, launched a website, and I was really getting so many questions from friends of friends, readers, listeners who had all of these questions about divorce and how to navigate. I could offer them my own experience, but I really thought I need more information. I need something that's bigger than me. And one day, fortuitously on LinkedIn, I saw a divorce coach, and I immediately felt like it was a path I needed to follow. I reached out to the only two organizations in North America that certified divorce coaches and pitched to them to podcast my way through training in exchange for that training. And one of the women bit. And I continue to work with her today. I really went into that training, Danielle, thinking I'm going to get the little letters behind my name. I'm going to get the information I need, and I'm going to write a book and done and move back into the world of blogging and content strategy that I already knew. But that first day of training, I felt like it was going to fall out of my seat. I just knew like a bolt of lightning that this was the path I was supposed to take. This is my calling. And
see, I think it's so interesting. We don't realize how fortuitous so many little moments along our path are, right? And it's like, I've been making a list since I started the podcast of all the people that I want to reach out to, because I honestly started by kind of swimming in my own pool, right? Who do I know that is doing something or has a story that can offer someone else hope? My goal with the podcast is I hope even if one person listens to this and says, oh my gosh, I'm not alone, right? Then that episode is a success. So you were on my list, but then I saw one of your TikToks last week, and we'll get to that in a moment, but I'm reading it and I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, oh, we need to talk because of the state of where we are in the world. And so there's just these little moments where we just keep saying, I'm moving forward and I'm doing the right thing. And this is my path and this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm so proud to know you.
Oh, I feel the same. Thank you so much for saying that. I absolutely feel the same. It's such a gift to see each other evolve personally, professionally, and like be able to kind of hold hands even across states to do that.
What has been the biggest challenge for you as you have worked through this evolution? When you said, okay, maybe I'm not just going straight back to content strategy, because that's a scary thing, right? This is what I know. And like, I even just got chills. That's so interesting to me. This is what I know. It's easy. It's scary to take a dive into something new. And yet you started to listen to the divorce coaches and you think, oh no, I'm really supposed to be helping women along this path.
I think it was just also at this time when so many people we know were having a tough time in their relationships. I knew immediately in that divorce coach training, that there were so many bloggers, not yet called influencers, women I knew who could not reveal yet that they needed to discern whether they were getting divorced or not. They needed support. They needed to move through. They needed to figure out how to tell their audience. And I knew I could walk in both worlds. And that's really how I began. Those women trusted me because I walked in one world, and then now I have expertise in another world that's backed up.
I was one of them.
Training, right. And it was backed up. And so that is really what pushed me forward to help me practice, define what kind of coach I was going to be, to sharpen my skills and to connect. And the connection is the most important thing, because divorce can feel so devastatingly lonely, even if we have a lot of people around us. So I think that was really an important part.
There is a grieving process.
There's a grieving process. There is. And sometimes we get to the divorce and we are not as sad as we anticipate. And it's because we've been grieving for years and years. And then one day it might hit us. There might be some tiny little moment. And you weren't there on some milestone with your kid, or you're taking your first trip, or you are going out on a first date and it's terrible. Whatever those little tiny moments are,
Right.
They feel so exacerbated because it's the grief resurfacing.
What does, for someone who has never heard of a divorce coach, right? What does a divorce coach do?
Well, I think there are many different definitions. The brand that I have, the kind of divorce coaching I do works in 3 buckets. We work on procedure and logistics. What's coming next? How do I get prepared, organized? How do I save money on my attorney? What are my talking points? Who do I need? The second one is communication strategy. That's my wheelhouse. 25 years of experience, scripting and messaging. How do we talk to the people around us, our kids, and address the messages internally about ourselves? And then the third bucket is to work on identity and practice putting ourselves at the center of our lives so that we can truly choose ourselves and choose the life we want to be happier, healthier, and more thriving, no matter what's going on around us, or how long that divorce takes, or what it entails.
Okay, so this is actually where I'm going to bring in the piece that you were talking about online with our not so friendly right-wing person who attacked you, kind of called you out online, because I think it's that identity piece that brought him after you. Because one of the things you do is you empower women. You say you have an identity outside of your marriage. And correct me if I'm wrong, so much of what we are seeing in society right now, I feel, is pushing us backwards. It appears to me, I fear, I am witnessing my daughter have fewer rights than I did when I was born. And there seems to be a bucket that many people are trying to put women in, that in marriage you have less identity. And the work you do threatens that. So I know I'm being a little bit vague because I want you to have the opportunity to share your experience in being attacked online for helping women to have this voice.
I mean, many videos that I do, many TikToks that I post have, awful comments by ill-informed men mostly, who are angry that I am charging money for the work that I do, that I am, accusing me of promoting divorce and being ill-informed myself. Those I could ignore. This was an 11-minute podcast episode by an extremist podcaster with millions and millions of followers and subscribers. And it was, in particular, you're right, attacking the fact that I said your life is bigger than one man, your life is bigger than one relationship, is the very best divorce advice I'd ever gotten from a single friend who at the time had not been married. And it shifted me and has shifted my clients profoundly. So that is threatening. And I do believe there is a desperate grasp right now for women to not only stand with men who have this thinking, who have these loud megaphones and microphones, to prop them up, to raise their children, to tell other women, in particular white women, that they need to follow along because it upholds white supremacy. White supremacy does not work without white women. And so the idea that women would be financially independent, would not choose to not have children, would choose to walk away from a marriage, would not support them, would vote, this is all threatening to that white supremacy. So we understand like the theory behind it. But any woman who is encouraging other women to have agency, voice, be empowered, get the money, do those things is a threat. And so that's why he said, if I had been born at a different time, I would be burned at the stake, which is really a threat in response to say, quiet down. But it is because it is an attempt at having power over rather than power with. And I am actively working every day to empower my clients and to help them empower themselves. That's threatening. And to be frank, the women they're afraid of leaving, or the women they're afraid of in divorce, are their own wives, and their wives are the ones who I coach. I read through thousands of comments, thousands and thousands, and all I could think is their wives will be calling me. Their wives are the ones I help because of my areas of specialty. And then they were also super pissed about my pink hair, which is so funny to me that needs
of all the things to be threatened by,
right?
Your autonomy.
I wasn't MAGA presenting. I wasn't adhering to their code. And so of course they're going to attack the way that I look. And so that actually made me laugh. But there were thousands and thousands of comments about both things. And some of those people sought me out elsewhere to more pointedly threaten me, find me, tell me what a terrible job I'm doing. And then it quickly dissipated. But the point is that the message lingers.
So on the pink hair, I want to say, I have always told my kids and anyone who will listen, there are two ways to automatically lose an argument. The first is to say, everybody says so.
Right.
Not be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And two is to attack someone personally, because that means that you don't have an argument. If I instantly go to, well, you're ugly, well, you're fat, well, you're, and I'm name calling, it's because I don't have an intelligent argument. Mm-hmm. And so having a problem with your pink hair means what, right? Because you're expressing your own identity. I mean, it's one of the things I've always loved about you is your pink hair and the stilettos. I mean, you and I have always had the high heels in common, right?
Right.
In your bio, it talks about going to your daughter's games in heels.
Inappropriate high heels. Yeah.
I was always that girl.
Yeah.
I can remember when Delaney was young and we were walking to a soccer game and she was walking ahead of me and she was probably 7. And she looks around and she goes, who in the world would wear a skirt to a soccer game? And I looked at her and I said, you. And she turned around. I was wearing a skirt because I wore skirts and dresses. And I wore heels all through my pregnancy with Cooper. And people are like, why are you wearing heels? Because it's what I do. Funny sidebar, heading down to the wedding, one of our flower girls, I took my shoes off when we were going through TSA and I walked on my tiptoes. And she looked at me afterwards and she goes, I thought you were like Barbie for a minute, that maybe your feet actually didn't go down. Like maybe you're in high heels so much that maybe you can't step flat. And I laughed so hard because nobody sees me in tennis shoes, right? But I think that being willing to take care of ourselves is part of the threat. And I know that when I came to you, when I was going through my divorce, even like on that girlfriend piece, right? Talking to you was so comforting because I didn't feel alone. And one of the scariest things about divorce is the isolation and the fear that people are going to choose sides. And are you doing the wrong thing? And the episode, I just shared an episode of the podcast with my ex-husband, with Jeff, right? And Jeff and I are great friends. He came to the wedding and we decided to do a podcast about co-parenting because for a very long time after we got divorced, many people didn't even know we were divorced because we continued to get along so well. And it's interesting to me because that's how we chose to handle it. And I had someone message me yesterday and say, what's so powerful about you doing that podcast is that it allows women to understand that you can be married to a great guy and to someone who is a wonderful father, but it doesn't mean they're your guy. And it's okay for you to leave that relationship. And I thought, gosh, I hope people can understand that because Jeff really is a fantastic guy. And I'm now married to my person. taking that step, I needed the help and the encouragement and the girlfriend in you that said, you're okay. It's okay to figure out what your path is.
I really appreciate so much of what you've said, because divorce can be, or even considering divorce can be, one of the most blaring, loudest times of our life, with all kinds of information shooting at us and people's opinions. And we're up at 2 a.m. on Reddit and listening to podcasts and getting all the opinions and the attorneys telling us things. And simultaneously, devastatingly quiet. We are alone with our own thoughts in ways that can be very scary. And we are confronting ourselves in ways that can be super uncomfortable. And so when I say, as a coach, I'm going to hold the space here with you, I know it sounds super cheesy, coachy, and woo-woo, but it really is true that sometimes we need someone to just sit in the space with us. And like you said, say, it is going to be okay. I never have any doubt when I look at a woman. It's going to be great. I promise. I say it all the time. It will be great. I promise. Let's get you there. You have to have some people around you and who encourage you to want to be more and more yourself and see the opportunity rather than seeing only the pain. And that is a trick. It can be really hard.
And I don't think it sounds woo-woo or coachy. And the reason I don't is because I think true compassion, true empathy is not barging in and saying, let me turn on all the lights. I'm going to make this better. But it's being willing to sit in that space with someone and say, you know what? This is hard. I know it's hard. It's hard because I've been there. It's hard because I've been watching other women be there. It's hard because I know other mothers have been there. But let's acknowledge it. Let's give yourself that grace to be there, and let's work through it, right? When you're ready, but not fire hosing someone with, oh my gosh, you have to do this, and oh, by the way, you're doing it wrong.
It's too much. Only the people who are like wackadoodle enough to be in the divorce industry need to know how it's all going to play out or what the possible paths forward are. But otherwise, there's too much amorphous information. It's overwhelming. And so some of that is taking it step by step and trusting someone to say, I see further down the path than you. I can shine the light down there. And that's how I know it's going to be okay. I think it's important to say, you and Jeff have a beautiful situation worked out, a relationship that has actually evolved. It's why I say there's no such thing as a broken family or a broken marriage or a failed marriage, because really it's just everything evolving. And this is because the two of you have come together in difficult times, in big celebrations, and being able to stand together, probably first in connection to your children and then in connection to each other. It kind of kept circling around. This is beautiful. And it is okay if this is not possible for everyone. There is great pressure to co-parent, to be nice, to be overly compromising, particularly for women. This only works when both people come to it with healthy mindset and with the agreement to manage the business of divorce in ways that are compromising, kind, partnering, and all of that. And that is just not the case for many, many couples. In that situation, I ask my clients, if they are looking for an amicable divorce, to turn the attention to being kind to themselves and be amicable with yourself and your best self, happier, healthier mom, happier, healthier kid, and move forward that way and release the expectation that you are going to make everything pretty and tied up in a beautiful ribbon with that person who you're divorcing if they're not willing to meet you in that.
What is the first thing you typically say to someone who says, I'm thinking about divorce and I feel so overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm. I tell them they're in the right place. And when I talk to clients, I say, I usually just begin by inviting them to be open, honest, laugh, cry, cuss. It's all okay here. It's all confidential. And then I ask, why are we talking today? And very often, Danielle, and you might understand this, it's a half an hour later when I say, okay, let's pause for a second, because I think in general, we are so alone with so much built up. We just need a person, a space to spill it all out to, especially not fearing that we're going to be judged or held accountable for things that aren't our fault, or, it's all going to be okay to be exactly where you are. And that really sets the tone for everything that comes after.
Jess, how do you define hope?
This is one of my favorite questions. Hope is literally my middle name. And so I was named that. My parents, old hippies, really wanted me to have a virtue as my middle name in honor of my mom's mentor, whose middle name was Content. And so they met with her and talked to her about it, and they decided on Hope. And I was beautifully, fortuitously born on her birthday. So that is a great honor. But they saw me as being their hope for the future. And I carry that really dearly. And I feel that it's very ingrained. It's like coursing through my blood all the time. I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. We've all had really tough stuff in our stories, but I do believe that there is something in everything for us. And if we are willing to seek that one little bit of light, then we can figure out how we can grow, change, move forward. And so to me, that little light is the hope.
There is a reason you and I are as aligned as we are, right? I also do not believe everything happens for a reason, but I very much do believe that the things that happen to me, I'm supposed to figure out what it is I'm supposed to do with it, right? What am I supposed to learn? Am I supposed to help with it? Am I supposed to grow with it? Am I supposed to pass it on? And light was my word of the year last year. And to me, so much of what this podcast is, I hope, pun intended, is to be a little bit of light in different avenues of life that people are experiencing, whether it is grief or recovery or divorce or whatever that experience may be. I recognize that there are so many hard things that come our way, right? In the intro, I said, soulful conversations, and we go through hard stuff. Everyone has hard experiences in life. And I do believe that everyone has a story of hope that can inspire someone else. My goal is to just talk to people and get them to share them, and hope that someone else hears a little something and says, oh, I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. There it is. Mm-hmm. There it is. Let's talk about your books.
Let's talk about them.
I know you self-published.
I have 3 self-published books, journals and exercises for women who are moving through divorce. And then I have a book that I was recruited to write, 400 questions for blended families. And that was really intended to create connection and conversation when families are coming together. And that book was written in 1 month. I actually wrote about 750 questions. My children were tortured by questions. I've always been the question girly in my family. If we're just sitting around, I'm like, let me ask a crazy question that everybody can answer. So this really took it to the next level. It was great fun to write. And I was delighted to see some of my daughter's friends reading the book and asking their parents questions at the dinner table. That made me very, very happy.
Oh, I love that. It's always amazing when there is something you pour your heart and soul into that manages to resonate with people, and help them to connect. Yeah. And there's so much of the work that you're doing day to day that is allowing people to do just that. What is your favorite part of what you do?
I am deeply honored that my clients trust me. I am deeply honored that when they sign the divorce papers, they call me. I had a client whose toddler daughter died 2 years ago, and she called me. And I have had clients who have a big question or a big celebration, and they want me to know. And that makes me feel so honored that they're sharing so many aspects of their story with me, and that they are living that hope that I had that we could change the narrative of divorce, and they're sharing it with other people. I just really feel excited every single day that I get to just show up and be with badass women and keep kind of like pivoting them in tiny bits toward the place that they want to go, and that there's a trust there and there's a building community there. So that makes me really happy and energized. And even when it's very emotionally heavy, which it often is, it is also exciting and full of that hope that you're talking about. Exactly.
What are next steps for you?
I love doing the TikTok so much, and I have spent lots of my career being on air, and I would really love to do some more of that and to keep expanding that. I think there is a place to have that changing narrative about divorce and single parenting and blended families have a wider and wider audience, because I think more and more people need it, especially right now. And I've got another book in me, and I'm working on it. And so I'm working on a proposal for it, and I'm excited and slightly terrified to get back to that level of writing.
That is exactly how it should be. I feel as though the things that need to come out of us, the things that light us up and scare the hell out of us, are the things we need to be doing.
I agree. And some of that is you've just done Sadie, Married Lady, and the blended family portion of that. Like, that takes a lot of courage and a lot of heart. And what a beautiful synchronous moment for you through your whole journey. And I think it's given me a lot of joy and hope to see you move in that direction too.
Awesome. Thank you. I've been so grateful because I have people like you in my life that have known me for so long, and that have known each 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0 version of me, and have been supportive and loving and caring, and have just continued to show up for me. And I'm super grateful. I know that in this version of me, I get to continue to choose the right people to be in my world. And that's something that I'm deeply grateful for. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Divorce Coach for Moms on TikTok and Instagram, and divorcecoachformoms.com on the interwebs.
Jess, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share?
Ooh, let's see here. I don't think so. Oh, I do. You know what I wanted to mention? We are connected forever because you walked behind me in a fashion show at Water Tower Place, where I was put in light up shoes, high heels, so high, about a size too small, and the shortest of shorts. You were behind me, and I'm like, there was a bonding moment between us.
Yes.
There. And I was dressed as Slutty Sailor. I'm sure you were something far more glamorous and
no, I was not. I was wearing blue and white polka dots as a shirt and some type of jaunty-esque cap that was entirely not me whatsoever. I actually found those pictures recently.
Oh boy.
So I will send those your way.
I want to see them, but we are indelibly fused because of that among men. I mean, an American Girl doll moment. We've had so many moments like that together where I think that was solidified. And how awesome is it to be able to show up during the tough stuff and make space for each other to evolve, because our lives look much different than they did when we were at our desktops blogging away all those years ago.
Right. Long before influencers were a thing, right? When we were the original iteration of that, when no one had any idea what that influencers would ever be the chosen career path of so many.
Right. And when we had babies, not adults.
Yes,
Wild
we
times.
did have babies.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. And I love everything that you're doing. And I just feel very happy to be a part of it, and always to see your name pop up on the comments and elsewhere.
I am equally honored and proud to know you and to have you on here. So thank you so much for spending time with me today.
My pleasure.
Friends, thank you so much for joining me and Jessica on this episode of Hope Comes to Visit. I'm always so grateful that you take time to listen, to join this conversation. And I hope that there has been a kernel of wisdom and love and community that has resonated with you, and that you will turn around and share it with someone that you know, and that you will comment and write a review if it has so resonated. Thank you so much for being here. Until we spend time together, take good care of you. Naturally, it's important to thank the people who support and sponsor the podcast. This episode is supported by Chris Dully, a trusted criminal defense attorney and friend of mine here in St. Louis, who believes in second chances and solid representation. Whether you're facing a DWI, felony, or traffic issue, Chris handles your case personally, with clarity, compassion, and over 15 years of experience. When things feel uncertain, it helps to have someone steady in your corner. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation.